My name's Fritz Allhoff. I'm a philosophy professor in the College of Arts and Sciences. I've been at Western Michigan for 10 years. I was brought in as an applied ethicist and have taught applied ethics, ethical theory, and philosophy of law. I think ethics most fundamentally is about how we live our lives and how we confront the challenges that we face on our journeys. It's a great opportunity to teach and write about ethics, applied ethics in particular, because we get to embrace questions pertaining to things like war and new technologies and elections and a wide range of topics that people really identify with and that resonate strongly with ordinary people. Everyone has opinions on ethics, and it's easy to get people involved in these sorts of questions. The central question that animates my research is how to understand the relationship between ethics and emerging technologies. So I'm very interested in how we think about military technologies like drone warfare or cyber attacks, medical technologies like cloning or genetic enhancement, or any other technological innovations that portend ethical questions. My disciplinary training is in philosophy, but after getting tenure, I decided to go back to law school. I wanted to think through not just how to understand ethical questions in the abstract philosophical modes, but also how to understand them through legal institutions and how we configure our society in order to address those sorts of problems. After law school, I clerked for a justice on the Alaska Supreme Court, got to spend a year in Alaska, and that was a great opportunity to not just apply law, but understand how practically to undertake some of these projects. So one of the great things about doing technology ethics is it's very interdisciplinary. We get to work not just with philosophers and ethicists, but also scientists. So a lot of the projects that I've had, be they grants, co-authored publications, have involved participation of scientists, and they do a great job sort of informing us, the philosophers or the lawyers, what the state of the science is. And then with that information, it's easier for the ethicists or the lawyers to sit down and figure out, okay, where do we go from here? What do we do with the current state of the science? What are the ethical questions and how should we address those? One of the biggest challenges with technology ethics is the technology is developed faster than the ethics. We're frequently playing catch up with our technology ethics. The technologies come on board before there's been some broad debate or public forum about what we should actually do with those technologies. So the important role of the technology ethicist or the lawyer is to play catch up, but also to try to identify before they happen what the developments will be and start the conversation early. One of the biggest challenges in technology ethics is negotiating the boundaries between security and individual liberties. And you see this context come up over and over. So you see it, for example, with regards to drones, where we end up killing people, which is obviously a deprivation of their rights, but we do it under the aegis of security. You see the same issue come up when the courts rule that Apple has to create a backdoor in order to access the iPhone of the San Bernardino killers. So the issues here have to do with how we negotiate the tension between concerns pertaining to national security and individual liberties. I'm very interested in questions at the intersection of neuroscience and criminal law. So two examples. One is if you are able to predict that people are going to commit crimes before they do, what should we do with them? Should we arrest them? Should we put them on probation? Another question has to do with whether after someone commits a crime, we can attribute the crime to some sort of neurodeficit or pathology. Do we hold these people as responsible? If there's a tumor that caused them to commit the crime, are we going to give them a lesser sentence or no sentence at all? One of the projects I'm currently working on has to do with ethics of cyber warfare. And this is a really compelling question because no one is immune from cyber attacks. Cyber attacks are by their very nature indiscriminate. They don't tell apart the military from civilians. And in virtue of that feature, they violate the laws of armed conflict. So how we think through the ethics of cyber warfare is very important. And in this project, I get to collaborate with the military and other important stakeholders.